Namaste and welcome back to the Asana Sana Yoga studio. Let me just start my time here. My name is Sana and today we are here for Asana Sana Strength. This class, we're going to focus our strength more or less today on the core, and we're going to focus on keeping our bodies stable along with working on our core muscles. So it's going to be a little bit more of a balanced flow, a little less dynamic movement. We'll be static in our movements today, but we will be focusing on that trunk and keeping our core muscles nice and tight. So as always, let's actually start here seated on the mat, coming into Tsukasana, easy seat. And from here, let's crisscross those applesauce, just making sure we get our alignment correct by putting our legs in an alignment that we maybe just don't normally do on a regular basis. So let's spread the flesh of our sits bones out, getting nice and grounded, sitting here on the mat. Hands can either be beside you, on your knees, or in your lap, however you'd like your hands to be. But here, let's take a deep breath into the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And with that exhale, just release any tensions you may have had before getting to class. Maybe the phone wouldn't stop ringing. Maybe you just couldn't find a moment to yourself. We're here in this class now. This is that moment. Let's ground ourselves, feeling our intentions. Like I said, this will be a nice, more of a gentle static flow as we work on strengthening our core and stability muscles, keeping ourselves nice and balanced, working on that flexibility in our trunk region. And while we're grounding in this class, if you want to go ahead and set some intentions for your own self, I will gladly share mine with you. I intend to guide you all through a class that works on challenging your stability and your balance. And I also hope to work your core muscles so that when you leave class today, you'll feel your core muscles a little bit more engaged. You'll feel a little bit more stronger in your trunk, and your posture will be a little bit more improved, ready to take on the day as we move into the rest of our week tomorrow. So let's take a moment here to just breathe. Think about our intentions. Also, it's really nice to just have a moment sitting to yourself. It really is. Wonderful. Let's take one last inhale and exhale in this pose. Letting it out, shaking out our hands, shaking out our legs, getting rid of any energy that might interrupt our moment for ourselves. All right, now that we're here, let's begin to warm up our neck. Let's slowly begin to just shake our head from right to left, shaking it no. Start small. Go ahead and work your way up to a faster movement or wider movement pattern. Remember, you don't want to do too much. We're just warming up our neck. Also, to try not to wrench your neck in this situation, you can easily get a tweak in your neck that will be quite bothersome as you try to go to sleep this evening. Excellent. Making them as big as you can as we go along with these movements, gently warming up the muscles of the neck. Excellent. From here, let's slow our movements down, bringing them back to center. And let's just start up and down, nodding ourselves. Yes. Starting slowly, warming up the muscles on the front and the back of the neck here. And you want to just move your head. You don't want to so much move the body. Just keeping ourselves nice and still. Dropping the head back. Nudging the muscles open. Waking up the body starting from the head. Excellent. Let's bring ourselves to stillness here in the middle. Let's inhale our hands out to a T. And as we exhale, let's drop that left arm at a 45-degree angle, taking that right palm, gently guiding our head over so that our right ear is resting on just about our right shoulder. Exhaling into that pose. And with every breath, see if you can pull just a little bit, dropping that head just a little bit more to the side, dropping that left arm out just a little bit more to the side, stretching out those side neck muscles. And try not to round yourself forward. We want to make sure we're sitting up nice and straight, keeping our ribs in without flaring them out. Really just focusing on that neck. Excellent. Let's inhale our head up to center. Take a glance over to the right. Let's drop that chin down to the floor. And this time, using our right palm, we're just going to bend, use it a little bit as a leverage here to stretch out the back of the neck. Allowing your head to drop down into your chest. Letting those back left muscles stretch out. Feel your neck open. Allowing that neck to open up. Excellent. Let's inhale ourselves up once more, bringing those arms to a T with an exhale. Let's inhale, dropping that head over to the left side, dropping our right arm at a 45-degree angle. Oh my goodness. Using that left palm to relax our ear to our left shoulder here. You see, even yoga instructors have days where we're just like, you know what? This is a good moment for me too. Let's all breathe into that. Breathe into that stretch. Excellent. Inhale our head up. Let's this time turning to the left. Let's drop that chin down to the floor. Using that left palm again, kind of as a counterbalance to help stretch out the back of those muscles. Excellent. Inhale our arms back to a T as we bring our head to the center. Let's swoop those arms up and looking down, let's bring our head down to our chest here. Just taking your hands palm over palm and gently guiding that chin into the chest. Stretching out the traps. Now, you're not going to curl yourself. We're not pulling ourselves into a ball. We're just stretching out, gently opening up that fascia, breaking up that fascia line, those tight fascia in the back of the neck there. Just getting that upper back ready for some movement flow. And you should really feel it in the upper back trap region. Excellent. Let's inhale and release. Let's bring our hands, clasping them underneath our chin, gently nudging up. Pushing that back a little bit here, just keeping your ribs down. You want to just open up the neck in the front. It's one of my favorite stretches. It's really great. Let's take a final inhale, exhaling to release. Bring your hands to the side of our hips here as we move down to warm up our shoulders. Let's inhale. Let's bring our shoulders up and back as we roll them. Exhaling back. Allowing your shoulders to roll at their own pace, waking up the shoulder muscles. Feeling yourself opening up. Excellent. Let's slow ourselves down as we inhale, coming to the opposite direction, bringing them forward this time, rolling the shoulders open. Excellent. Slowing our movements down. Let's inhale the shoulders up and overhead. Exhaling that right arm down the back, using that left hand to help guide that elbow a little bit further towards center here as we begin to stretch out our shoulders and our obliques. And as you exhale, allow that arm to slide just a little bit more over. Really allowing yourself to open up here on the side. Excellent. Let's inhale our arms out to a T as we send our right arm behind our back, using our left to gently grab that wrist, pulling open, pulling down that shoulder, stretching out the traps. Go ahead and drop that left ear here to the left shoulder, further stretching out those trapezoid muscles. And breathe into the stretch. Exhale into the release. Let's take one last deep breath in this position. And as we exhale, release those arms out to a T. Let's exhale the right arm across. This time, turning our face to the right to further facilitate that stretch. Feeling a nice twist from our shoulders to our neck. Take one last inhale as we exhale those arms back out to a T. Inhale and bringing the arms up. Let's do the same on the other side, dropping that left arm down the back, stretching the shoulders, the sides out, relaxing into that stretch. Breathing to expand, exhaling to deepen a little bit more. And on this next inhale, let's inhale the arm out to a T. Exhale, bringing that left arm out behind us here. Gently tugging it with the right arm. Dropping that left ear this time to the left shoulder as we stretch. Oh, I'm sorry, the right ear to the right shoulder as we stretch behind us. Breathe in to deepen, exhale to lengthen. Let's inhale those arms back out to a T, bringing the head along as well. Exhale, bringing that left arm across the front. Go ahead and twist to the left if it's within your practice today. Gently having that face twisting away helps to stretch out the muscles just a bit more. Excellent. Inhale, bringing things to center. Let's release. Here, as we have our hands out to a T, let's go ahead and drop that right forearm to the mat as we exhale, bending ourselves over here for a gentle side bend. Remember to keep your left hip down on the mat as you just want to bend the obliques into the side of the body. We don't want to bring the whole body with us, coming to a bend. You just want to stretch out the side body. And if you can, drop your head, maybe move it around a little bit. Further use this pose to help stretch out any parts of the upper body you haven't quite gotten to yet. Breathe in to the pose, exhale to deepen. Let's take an inhale as we come back up to seated here. Let's exhale, coming over to the left side this time, keeping our right hip on the mat, stretching out that side body. Maybe turning our face up to the sky, coming into that gentle side stretch. Also here, if you need, do not be shy to just keep yourself up right here, stretching from the hip. You do not need to go down as nearly as far as I do if it's not in your practice today. Excellent. Let's inhale, bringing those hands up this time to the sky, giving a good reach. And as we begin to exhale, let's turn to the right, fully exhaling into that seated twist. Breathing into the pose, exhaling to deepen, really twisting around, awakening that digestive system, awakening your trunk and your spine. Take one more deep breath in this pose. And let's inhale the hands up to the sky as we exhale. Turn to the center. Keep going. Finishing the exhale as we drop our hands down, coming into our seated twist to the left. And with every inhale, lengthening yourself, exhale, deepening further and further into the pose. Turning the head. Breathing deep. Let's take one last breath in this pose. Inhale your hands up. Let's exhale as we clasp them, turning them out to the sky, stretching, maybe dropping gently back a little bit further the shoulders. Take one big inhale, releasing the hands. Let's exhale, bowing forward, maybe putting our hands in peace, into peace pose, getting ready for today's flow. Excellent. Let's bring ourselves up, meeting standing at the top of the mat here. All nice and warmed up in the top of the body. Let's begin to warm up the rest of the body in the lower body here. Let's start here with our alignment coming into our mountain pose, which is Tsukasana. You want to just kind of stand here, our free pose here in yoga. What you want to do is we're going to start by lifting our toes on the mat here as we place them parallel to each other. Drop the toes on the mat. Really get a good grip on the mat with those feet. Relaxing our ankles, keeping our knees over our ankles. We're going to make sure our knees aren't locked out. Looking at our feet, we want to keep them shimmied to the point where they're about hip width apart. You can either kind of eyeball it with your hands or you can use your fist. Again, making sure that your knees are nice and loose and supple and not locked out. Let's keep our hips situated over our knees as we relax our pelvis into that neutral tilt. I'm going to make sure that we remember our pelvis is a bowl here, so you don't want to splash out by turning in too much this way or ducking yourself out too much that way. So keeping that natural, completely good feeling of that pelvic tilt. Moving up to our ribs, let's keep our ribs in and together. Taking a deep breath as we have our hands on our sides here. Exhaling, keeping those hands touching, making sure our ribs are situated over the hip bones and not flaring out. With the shoulders, instead of keeping ourselves rounded forward, let's inhale, bringing them up and back, sending the shoulder blades down the back. Let's slide our head back so that our ears are aligned with our shoulders, keeping our chin at a nice parallel level, gazing directly forward. So as we go through our poses, the gazing forward is the way to go. Even if you're in a downward dog, you just want to gaze the eyes forward. So we have our nice alignment check that I put at pretty much every class that starts with standing. From here, let's begin our movements by inhaling those hands up to the sky. Exhale to a chair. Let's swan dive forward as we come, inhaling halfway forward back here. Exhaling, placing the hands on the mat, gingerly stepping back. Let's drop our knees, drop our chest, drop our chin as we come into our Chaturanga. Inhale. Let's come up into that cobra pose here. Gently, gently on the back. We just started. Taking an inhale once more. If you've already exhaled, let's curl those back toes. Exhaling, we're going to send our hips up to the sky for this downward dog. And let's slowly walk out our feet here, pedaling those toes in our walking dog variation here. Waking up those calves, waking up your ankles, waking up your shins, your glutes, your thighs, knees, everything. Waking it up. Even the upper body here as we push ourselves back, holding in this pose. Let's inhale, send this foot up into the sky. As we exhale, bring the right foot down to the front of the mat. Drop that back knee. Inhale your hands up. Let's come into that crescent pose. From here, let's inhale, windmilling the hands back down to the mat, curling that back left foot. Let's take a step back to the mat, coming into our plank. Let's knees, chest, chin as we come into our Chaturanga. Inhale up, coming up just a little bit more. Seeing if we can come a little further up in our cobra pose this time. Let's inhale those toes, curling them into the back. Exhale, sending our hips up into the sky. Let's walk out those feet once more as we're in this pose. Slowing ourselves down to stillness. Let's inhale the left foot, this time up into the sky. Exhaling as we place it on the mat, dropping that right knee. Let's inhale ourselves up into that crescent pose. From here, inhale, windmill the hands back down to the mat. Let's curl that back toe, stepping back, staying in our plank. Exhale as we come into that upward dog now. We're a little bit more warmed up. We can keep ourselves in the upward dog. Let's curl our toes to the back as we exhale, sending the hips up to the sky. Let's walk our feet up to our hands at the top of the mat here. Inhale, coming halfway. Exhale, placing the hands on the mat. Let's inhale, bringing our hands up to the sky. Exhaling, coming back into prayer pose. Excellent. Let's go ahead and do that once more. Inhale, send your hands up to the sky. Briefly in chair as we swan dive down. Inhale into our half flat back. Exhale, placing our hands on the mat. Let's take a step back into our plank. Inhale, exhale as you come down. Let's inhale ourselves up, coming into that full up dog, staying on our thighs or keeping our thighs off the mat, balancing on our toes. Let's inhale, curling those toes, sending our hips up into the sky. Exhaling as we come into that downward dog. Let's send that right leg this time up once more. Exhale as you place it between the hands, dropping that left knee. Let's take our right hand, placing it on the inside of our foot. Let's take an inhale as we twist ourselves, coming up into a variation of a pyramid pose or triangle pose and extended towel pose. Feeling the deep lunge here, we're just going to hold for just a moment. Breathing through the pose, allowing ourselves to open up, holding our core tight, warming up our core muscles. From here, let's inhale. Exhale as we drop our hand down, bringing our right hand to the other side of the foot. Curl that back foot, straightening out that left leg. Let's send that right foot down as we plank ourselves to the mat. Inhale, coming up into that upward dog. Let's take another inhale if we've already exhaled. Curling those toes, coming into that downward dog. This time, let's send our left leg up into the air. Exhaling as we place it on the mat, dropping that right knee. Going to turn around for your benefit. Remember, let's take that. This time it's the left hand, placing on the inside of the left foot. Inhale, exhale as we twist ourselves up, holding that core nice and tight. Make sure you keep your pelvis in that neutral tilt, tightening the core, warming up our trunk muscles, keeping ourselves nice and steady in this position. From here, let's inhale once more. And as we exhale, turning ourselves back down, moving that left hand back to its original position. Let's curl that right foot, bringing it up to straight, stepping that left foot back. Exhale into the plank. Inhale, coming up into our downward dog. Let's exhale as we come up. Oops, you're on our upward dog. Exhale as we come up into our downward dog. Let's hop or walk our hands to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway flat back. Exhale all the way down. Inhale, bring those hands up to the sky. Exhale as we come into prayer pose. Excellent. So now you got the gist. We're just going to move a little bit faster as we continue this movement and momentum in movement into our Asana Sana Yoga flow. So inhale those hands up to the sky. We're exhaling to chair, swan dive, and coming straight down into that halfway forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back. Bring yourself to a plank. Inhale to the upward dog, full extension. Exhale, sending those hips up into the sky. Uncurl your toes. Let's send the right foot up into the sky this time. Exhaling as we bring it forward, dropping between the hands, coming up, and instead of dropping that knee, let's drop that foot on an angle, coming down into our warrior two. In this warrior two pose, it's inhale, bending, exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend, exhale, straight. Very good. Let's do this once more. Inhale, bend, exhale, straight. Let's cartwheel those hands back down to the mat. Take a step back with the right foot. Exhale your way down. Inhale your way up to that upward dog. Taking a deep, deep breath. Let's curl those toes. Exhaling as we come into our downward dog. This time, let's do the same with the left. Send that left foot up into the sky. Exhale as we place it in between the hands. Let's inhale ourselves up, dropping that right foot, coming into that warrior two pose. Let's keep our warrior two active by straightening with an inhale, exhale as we come to bend the foot, making sure that the knee does not come over the toes. Inhale straight, exhale flex. Let's do it one more. Inhale straight, exhale flex. And let's cartwheel those hands back down to the mat here. Taking a step back, let's chaturanga ourselves in and up into that upward dog. Curl those back toes. Exhale as we send our hips up into the sky, walking out those feet one last time, making sure our ankles are really awake, back of our leg, the whole body, shebang, awake. Let's inhale as we take a hop, step, or jump to the top of the mat to meet our hands. Coming up halfway, let's exhale all the way down the front of the mat. Inhale, bringing your hands up. Exhaling, coming down into prayer pose. Wonderful. You should feel nice and warmed up and ready to go because we're going to get into our flow. So let's meet ourselves back down here on the mat. We're going to come into all four tabletop. And there are some alignment cues for this, and I will take a few moments to mention that as well. Let's start here, kneeling. We want to keep our knees hip width apart this time. So it's a little easier to kind of see the distance here because it's not much of a place to see. You want to keep your back legs here, curled or uncurled, it's up to you. But you do want to keep the legs parallel to the sides of your mat. Bending from the hip, just sending Now, bending from the hip, you want to keep your back nice and neutral. You don't want to push yourself or arch yourself. Keep your shoulders down from your ears. And I know it can be difficult when you're in a tabletop position, but actively send your shoulder blades down your back. As for your arms, you want to keep your elbows over your wrists. So you don't want to like this, you don't want to like that. You want your wrists directly under your shoulders so everything is in alignment. Turn your elbows out so that your elbows face front, the inside of your elbows face front, but you're not locking into place. So we got our good alignment here. You want to make sure you can lift your hands and then grip the floor so that you're nice and stable. So from here, we're just going to inhale, gently bending lowering our tummy, loosening those stomach muscles, allowing them to open up because we're going to work on our core today, arching that back just a little bit as we inhale. Let's curl our pelvis, coming in, pulling in our core muscles, pulling in those tummy muscles to the spine as we exhale, coming into cat. So we're just going to keep doing that. Let's inhale, dropping, relaxing. Exhale, pulling, tightening. Inhale, dropping, relaxing. Exhale, tighten, pull. And let's keep doing that on our own breath accord here. Breathing with the movements, using your core muscles, allowing them to stay tight, feeling your pelvis, feeling all of those muscles working. One of the best things to do is when you drop your belly, really push the belly muscles out, feeling them nice and pushed out. And then as you come in, curling, tightening everything, coming into that core nice and tight. Here, let's do 2 more. Inhale, dropping, loosening. Exhale, tightening, pulling once more. Oh, inhale, I always get them backwards. Exhale, really wringing out. Feels good. Excellent. From here, let's slowly move forward as we just come forward on our hands just a little bit, walking them a little bit further out here as we just begin to drop our hips, pull back a little bit. We're warming up our hips and our waist for our next poses, making sure that our body is ready to take on this movement. Make sure you keep your core nice and tight as we do these hip drops here, waking up that iliopsoas muscle, waking up our wrists, or not iliopsoas muscle, our iliopsoas, it's a tendon, waking up our wrists, ensuring our balance nice and checked, keeping our hips in that wonderful flow. Excellent. Let's slow ourselves down. A little dust on my mat there. Slowing ourselves down, coming into stillness. Let's walk our hands as we come into stillness here. Let's walk our hands back to our knees, coming up once more into kneeling. And our next pose is going to be our camel pose. So let's inhale, sending the hands back. And as we exhale, begin to slowly drop yourself. If you'd like, you can use your hands to help push your hips out just a bit, stopping where you feel fit. And if you'd like, you can keep going to the full extension of that camel pose, dropping the head, relaxing the shoulders from the ears. However you're holding your camel, either here, or pulling your feet up. Just deep breathe, holding that core tight. Feel the expansive muscles, arching the spine. Let's hold here for 3 more breaths. I know it can be a little difficult, but be sure to keep your core nice and tight in this pose here. We have 1 more breath. Inhaling and exhaling through our nose. Let's take 1 more inhale as we come up. Exhaling, seeing ourselves remaining on our knees here. Giving ourselves a moment. Allowing any circulation to come back to the body. Let's find ourselves seated. Coming into this pose here. We're just going to hold ourselves. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's keep ourselves on our knees. Jumping again a little bit here. Let's keep ourselves on our knees as we're going to come back into tabletop. From here, keeping that alignment nice and good. We're going to inhale, shifting our weight to the back here knees, bringing our weight to our back right knee. Let's inhale that right hand forward, coming into an extended bird dog here. Next move, let's inhale that knee up, that left knee, coming into this balance pose, holding here for just a moment. And we're going to hold here for 5 breaths. If you'd like to extend your tiger pose, go ahead and bend that knee, sending that arm back. Exhaling, holding into our tiger's pose. Let's hold here for 5 breaths, keeping that core nice and tight, our gaze nice and neutral as we're looking forward. Breathing in, really relaxing. This is a rough pose. It doesn't seem like much today, but tomorrow you will feel it in your obliques and in your core. And if you find yourself dropping, that's all part of the fun. Let's take one more inhale as we exhale, releasing the hands, bringing the hand back down to the mat, dropping that knee down. Let's swing ourselves. Now we can swing ourselves to the front. We're going to bring laying her down on the mat here, bringing our bottom to our heels. We're going to keep our arms beside us. And as we inhale, we're just going to inhale into a nice bridge pose. So inhale, lifting that pelvis, lifting that core. And let's hold here, breathing. Energetically spin those thighs outwards so you can keep yourself nice and upright, supporting that pelvis. Breathe through the pose. We have 3 more breaths here, keeping that core muscle tight, our core muscles tight, helping us to stay leveled here in this pose. And let's take our last inhale. And as we exhale, slowly roll from the top of our body, exhaling down onto the mat. Whew. Excellent. Let's stretch ourselves out here. Just allowing those muscles just to stretch for a little bit here for a moment. Let's come on up back into seated. And from here, bringing ourselves back to our tabletop pose. It's a lot of up and down today. We got to work out that core muscle. Let's get ready, our core muscles. Let's get ready to perpetrate our tiger pose on the left. So coming back on that nice, good positioning here, let's start to shift our weight back to that right back knee here. Inhale, sending the left hand out in front, getting that good balance, keeping yourself ready to go. Let's move that balance over, back, keeping it on the knee. Let's inhale, bringing our right knee up into the air, exhaling it straight behind us. If you are happy in this extension of the tiger pose, great. Let's keep it right here. If you'd like to fully extend it, let's bring that arm back, grabbing that ankle, flexing that foot, exhaling into the pose. Let's hold here, keeping those core muscles tight, keeping our balance, allowing the core, our foot and our hand to pull opposite of each other, keeping us balanced, using that core muscle to keep our body nice and still. Let's hold here for 3 more breaths. Feeling it, feeling good. Breathing through the pose. Let's take our last inhale. Let's exhale, releasing that foot, releasing that hand, coming back into our tiger pose. Excellent. Let's find ourselves bottoms on the mat once more. We're going to come into our boat pose now. And this boat pose has several different incarnations you can do. You can come into your full extension of a boat pose. You can keep your knees bent, your shoulders up and back, keeping yourself nice and supported. Or if it's not within your purpose today, go ahead and lean back just a little bit. You can keep your feet one at a time, doing some taps. But we're just going to breathe here for 5 breaths, keeping ourselves nice and balanced, holding yourselves in this pose. I like to keep mine as a bent knee. Make sure you're not hunching yourself, but keeping yourself up nice and tight, holding those core muscles good and tight. You're doing great. I know this is a hard one, but keep breathing. We're going to work on those core muscles. We're doing excellent. You're doing great, everyone. 2 more breaths. Inhale, exhale, really feeling it. Let's take a last inhale, exhale, releasing. Woo! allowing those core muscles to soften and relax for just a moment, catching our breaths, really feeling that core. So it's not always about how fast you're moving, and sometimes it's just intentionally sending that energy to holding those muscles together, to keeping it all together so that you work yourself a little bit more each time. So we're in this seated pose now in our L shape. We're going to keep our hands right by our hips. We're going to come into our reverse plank. I know how much you love it. We're just going to inhale. And as we inhale, let's roll ourselves, taking up our bottom, rolling our feet to the mat, dropping our head back if it's within our practice. And as we exhale, tightening the core muscles, feeling our arms nice and strong, the inside of our elbows facing forward. Just keep breathing here. Holding yourselves, bringing our shoulders back from our ears. We're going to keep breathing as we have 3 more breaths in this pose, sending our shoulder blades down our back, lifting our hips if they feel like they're sagging. 2 more breaths, inhaling, feeling the energy coming out of your crown and your toes. Let's take one last inhale. Exhale, rolling ourselves, coming back down on the mat, fully extending forward, maybe grabbing those toes. Woo, relaxing out of that reverse plank because that one is a toughie. I feel you on that one. Sometimes we do these yoga instructors. We also feel the same energy and heat that you're feeling too. So if you're shaking, I'm definitely shaking. We're feeling it tonight. Excellent. Let's release our feet, coming back into that T pose. We're going to find ourselves here, coming right back around, getting back into our tabletop pose. And if you know, this is a nice dominant pose for the night because why? You have to keep your trunk nice and engaged the whole time you're here, keeping yourself light on your hands, feeling stability. Let's curl those toes behind us, taking an inhale. Let's exhale, sending our hips up to the sky, coming into a downward dog. From here, let's inhale, sending our right foot up into the sky. We're going to hold this 3-legged downward dog here for 5 breaths. With each exhale, send the energy to your hands, keeping yourself good and steady, not moving, holding your position, keeping yourself good and balanced, keeping those hips nice and square. We have 2 more breaths, holding tight, keeping that foot facing the ground, or maybe pointing it up as far as you can. 1 more breath. Inhale. Let's exhale that foot back down to the mat. And from here, we're in this downward dog once more. Let's drop that right leg onto the mat, coming into a straight leg, kind of a tabletop variation. Inhale, let's send our arms up into the sky as we come into our side plank. If you'd like to hold your side plank with a knee down as a variation, please do so. If you'd like to extend your practice this evening, go ahead and inhale, sending yourself up to a full side plank. That bottom leg in the front, top leg in the back. Let's breathe here, feeling ourselves, making sure we're nice and fully aligned under those shoulders. We have 4 more breaths here. Don't worry, I won't make you hold it longer because I wasn't in proper alignment. Make sure that our hips are nice in the position. Breathing through, keeping our core muscles nice and tight. We have 2 more breaths to go. Let's inhale, exhale. Let's take 1 more inhale. And this time as we exhale, let's turn ourselves coming forward, back into that plank, dropping our knees. Woo, taking a quick child's pose, coming back up into that tabletop. Let's inhale, rolling those toes, doing that once more. I'm going to come around for your benefit, coming into our 3-legged dog. Let's inhale this time, that left leg up into the sky, keeping our hips squared, imagining as if there's a marble at the top of our thighs, bending the leg if you need to, making sure that we're not joining out this way. We want to keep ourselves nice in here. And you can either fold your foot or flex your foot or point it up to the sky, whichever variation of your 3-legged dog. Let's keep holding here. We have 3 more breaths. Keeping our core muscles nice and tight. This actually works out the obliques the more you push. Let's take 1 more inhale. And as we exhale, let's drop that foot down the mat. Take another inhale. Let's either dropping that knee, turning up into our side plank, or keeping your legs out as a full extension of a side plank. Holding here for 5 whole breaths. Feel 3 more breaths. 2. Taking a last inhale. Let's exhale as we turn ourselves to the front, coming into that plank. Or excuse me, that downward dog once more. Let's walk our feet up to our hands, bringing ourselves down. Let's rest in our malasana, opening up our knees, coming into prayer pose. It's a nice counter pose to allow our hands to relax, to catch our breath, to breathe into our belly. Stretching out for just a moment here. Excellent. Bring our hands back to the mat. Let's find ourselves in that position once more. Coming in, we're going to hold ourselves into one more reverse plank. I know, I'm so sorry, but we are working on our core muscles here, and our core muscles kind of do extend down this way, so we do have to boost, but it's not going to be so bad. We're just going to inhale, and we're going to do some light toe taps. So inhale, bringing ourselves back to that plank. If you can, tapping, holding. Let's hold here for 5 or 3 breaths. Last breath. Exhale that foot down. This time, let's inhale the left foot up. If you'd like, you can cross your legs. Holding here. 2 more breaths. Taking a last inhale. Exhaling that foot down. Inhaling once more. Exhaling our bottoms down. Let's lean forward, grabbing onto those ankles. Catching our breath. Excellent. Breathe. And let's come into one last pose, which is an awesome, very well rewarding pose for doing all of those planks this evening. Let's bring ourselves last time for Ramas, making sure, checking, yes, absolutely last time that we are in this tabletop position. Let's take a deep breath. And as we exhale, let's widen those legs, sending our hips down to our feet. Let's extend the arms forward, coming into an extended child's pose. And because you guys did all so beautifully well this evening, let's breathe, sending the air to our belly, stretching out those work core muscles, holding here. We're going to do this for 3 more breaths. With this last inhale, let's begin to walk the hands over to the right. And as we exhale, let's stretch our body over to the right side. Come into an extended child's pose to the right, really stretching out those obliques, stretching out the left arm a little bit more, allowing those obliques to open up so they're not quite so sore tomorrow. Send your breath into your side body. Let's take one more inhale. Begin to walk those hands over to the left side. And as we exhale, send the air right into that right side oblique, right into that hip. Feeling ourselves open, stretching out the body. Ooh, this feels delightful. Excellent. Inhale, walking ourselves to the center once more. Exhale, letting our chest drop to the mat. Our chin too, if it's within the practice. Allowing your core muscles to rest. Opening up that belly on our thighs here. Excellent. Let's inhale. See ourselves back on the mat. Coming into laying on our backs flat. And I promise you, we won't have to do any more planks, any more tiger pose, any more tabletops. Let's find ourselves here laying on the mat, situating our arms next to us. Just for a moment, just grounding ourselves, thanking ourselves for what we've done. Let's inhale, holding those core muscles nice and tight as we're still not done yet, keeping them nice and compact in. Let's exhale, bringing ourselves up here as we're in this kind of on our forearms. Let's take a deep inhale as we roll our chest open, dropping our head almost as if we're in a reverse plank. Coming into our fish pose or Mayurasana. Breathing, Sending the breath into the belly. Stretching out the chest. Opening up everything. Let's hold here for 3 more breaths. Let's take 1 more inhale. And as we exhale, allowing the back now to drop onto the mat. Let's inhale our knees into our chest, keeping them at this bent 90-degree angle. Exhale, dropping the knees over to the left side, coming into our stag legs. And if you like, you can extend your right arm, turning the body over to the right, stretching out just a little bit more here. Breathing into that pose. And let's inhale our feet and our knees back up to that 90 degrees. Exhale, coming over to the right side this time, turning to the left if you'd like, stretching out our core muscles, twisting out our body once more. Wonderful. Let's breathe our knees, this time breathing our knees up, keeping our feet flat on the mat here. Let's bring that right foot and ankle to that left knee. Inhale, palm over palm, bringing that left knee up to the chest. Exhale, pulling that left knee into your chest as we stretch out our piriformis on our right side, coming into that reclining pigeon pose. Feels good. Pull a little bit more with each inhale. With each exhale, allowing yourself to fully sink into that figure 4 pose. Excellent. Let's release that left foot back to the mat. Bringing that right foot, switching out, placing that left ankle on that right knee. Let's inhale, bringing that palm over palm underneath behind the leg here. Exhaling, pulling that right knee this time into the chest, stretching out the piriformis on the left side in that reverse or that reclined pigeon. Really quite enjoy this position. This is a nice one to do right before bed as well. And if your back's feeling a little tight, you definitely want to do this. This definitely helps. Breathe into that stretch. And then for our next exhale, let's release the hands, bringing both of the knees into the chest. Let's take our peace fingers here, if it's within our practice, or even wrapping the back of the feet. But let's grab our feet and exhale, sending our knees into our armpits here as we come into our happy baby pose. And here, let's work out any other tension and kinks we might have in our hips or in our core muscles, straightening the legs, maybe bending a little bit, allowing everything to wake up, to relax out, stretching out, feeling that core loosen up before we go to bed. Remember, your core isn't just your abs, your abdominals and your six pack in the front. They're the series of muscles that wrap around your torso that actually help keep you upright and straight. So you want to make sure we're getting all of those muscles released from tension, working all of those muscles. This is why we do all of these poses here, specifically the tiger pose that works the back of the core muscles as well. Let's take one big inhale. And with our exhale, let's release this pose, sending our arms and legs into the sky. Exhale, bringing everything down to the mat, relaxing, stretching out your body as far as you need it to go, because we are coming into our number 1 pose of the night, my true apex pose, as always, our Shavasana and or corpse pose. So find your feet dropping away from each other. You can rest your hands by your side, opening up to the universe, or on your belly. Let's take 3 deep breaths into the nose, out through the mouth. And on our last exhale, softly float those eyes closed. Relax those face muscles. Let your jaw just relax. Slightly part your lips. Coming into our Shavasana. Resting here. Excellent working class today. You deserve this wonderful 10-minute rest. Focus on your breathing. Allow the energy around you to play. This moment's for you. And before we come up from our Shavasana today, I would like to read for you a passage from the Daily Stoic. Today's passage is on disintegration. It reads, "These things don't go together. You must be a unified human being, either good or bad. You must diligently work either on your own reasoning or on things out of your control. Take great care with the inside and not what's outside, which is to say, stand with the philosopher or else with the mob." Epictetus. We're all complicated people. We have multiple sides to ourselves, conflicting wants, desires, and fears. The outside world is no less confusing and contradictory. If we're not careful, all these forces, pushing and pulling, will eventually tear us apart. We can't live as both Jekyll and Hyde, not for long anyway. We have a choice: to stand with the philosopher and focus strenuously on the inside, or to behave like the leader of a mob, becoming whatever the crowd needs at a given moment. If we do not focus our internal integration on self-awareness, we risk external disintegration. Food for thought. And with that, I invite you to bring movement into your body by wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers. Begin to wiggle your legs, rolling your shoulders, wiggle those arms. Take a deep inhale as you stretch your body around, using any movements you need to bring physical awareness back to your body. Bring yourself slowly to stillness as you roll yourself over to the right or to the left, cradling your head in your arm for just a moment here. Really thanking yourself for this pose, for this flow that we went through today, working on those core muscles. And if you can, with your eyes still closed, push yourself up, coming into a seated position. Tsukasana, easy seat. Sitting here for a moment, allowing your senses to come to. Let's inhale those hands up to the sky overhead. Exhale, sending our hands down into prayer pose. And if you haven't already, go ahead and flutter your eyes open. Thank you for joining me in this evening in Asana Sana Strength class. I hope you really enjoyed this balance and stability flow that we focused on our core here. And as always, this class is Wednesday evenings at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope to see you all again, and I hope you are all feeling strong as we bounce through our evening. And I like to send you all off with a saying that I often say to everyone: be the light that you wish to see in the world. See the light that you wish to see in the world. Have a good evening. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. I will see you all in the cool down room. Good night.